Rolling. All right.
Rolling.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Boom, and welcome to the Big Honker Podcast. It's July. I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world famous Andy Shaver.
July is the month that we get on that roller coaster. It
Last transition month.
Starts to ratchet up. Training camps open up. We start preparing for dove season around here at the Big Honker Lodge.
My favorite times of year.
It is about 2 weeks away, 3 weeks away.
6 weeks away.
No.
Yes.
No. The shit that we got to do around here.
My shit's about done. It's y'all shit. Y'all do the outside and the maintenance. I do the inside.
We're down a man, Jeff. We're going to need you.
I'm going to have someone hired by next week, I think. With us today, the godfather of gummies from Jackson, Tennessee, with Hemp Hill Pharm, Mr. Patrick Nelson. Patrick, how you doing?
I am doing well. Thank you for having me today.
Godfather of gummies.
Godfather of gummies.
The Godfather of gummies. That's a new nickname.
That is a good one. You need a shirt with that.
I can
the
do
Godfather of gummies. Somebody's like, fuck, I wish I'd have thought of that
Damn
already.
it.
So, you're getting married next week?
I'm getting married Saturday, July 8th.
Saturday.
Yes,
How
sir.
old are you?
I'm 31.
31 years old. You're still about 23 years from getting married, probably, smartly. But have you ever had your ass chewed out for absolutely nothing you did wrong?
Not yet.
Oh, it's coming.
I grew up with 3 sisters, and so therefore I had 4 mothers. I'd like to say that I tried to err on the side of caution. And I'm not going to say I know what I'm doing, but I know what not to do from history.
Well, I'd like to hear what that is, because I still don't know what not to do, because my wife's still mad at me every day over something. But it's the little things, because the big things are not that big a deal, but it's the little things that you get in trouble, and you don't get in trouble for. It's just the things they point out. Have you noticed that in your marriage, Andy?
No.
Jesse never points out things that you never do. You are a good liar.
She does.
I've seen her do it before. She's what?
She's perfect.
She's perfect.
She is.
I make good lists and try to keep those checked off.
Yeah, exactly.
I hate a fucking list more than anything in the world.
Kids will kind of throw a monkey wrench into things because, you take a little bit of their ass chewing for some of the things that they do.
A little bit.
It's not too bad though.
The list thing
they're not but I imagine it's probably going to get worse when they kind of become rowdy teenagers.
Oh yeah,
boys.
Yeah,
that's kind of when it'll get worse.
Does Jesse give you a list?
No.
I hate a fucking list. Michelle,
what do you mean a list?
Michelle will be like, "Oh, I got a list for you here," and she writes down shit she'd like me to do.
Oh, okay.
I hate that crap. I hate a freaking list.
I make my own list because I am ADD, and without a list, would be disorganized. So I think ADD is a benefit because it allows me to bounce around a lot of different things. But without having that organization around the ADD, I would be a cluttered mess.
Well, I'm not saying the lists aren't better for me. I'm just saying when my wife gives me a fucking list, no. If I write myself a list, it's okay. But when she gives me a list, it's always right as you're walking out the door to go to work. Oh, here's a list for you. Okay, I'm fixing to go to work.
Like for shit to you to pick up at the grocery store or for you to do around the house?
She just list things that I need to get done that day.
Mom doesn't do that.
Oh, bullshit if she doesn't
do that. I've never in my life seen her give you a list. Ever.
Seriously?
Never.
Today, when you come, you're going to be at the house today. The boys will be in the pool. I'm going to ask, and she's like, oh, yeah. And you're going to be like, I'll be damned. Yeah, she gives me a freaking list all the time.
Something new to me. I've never heard of this.
Well, it's not new to me. I wish it was.
I've never heard of this.
Yeah.
Jesse and I have an unspoken agreement in that I will take care of everything outside of the house, and I will fix things in the house that are broken. The rest is hers. So
our list, our deal's a little different than that. Mom's in charge of everything in the house.
Right.
I'm in charge of having someone take care of the outside of the house.
Right.
Someone in our family redone a shower for us. It's not working right now, and I hear about that every day. I need to get him back in there. But the best thing in the world to do is to learn to not argue and smile and say, yes, dear, no matter how stupid it is, and your life will be a whole lot easier.
After I get all my duck mounts in her house after the honeymoon next week, I will absolutely take you up on that.
Yes, dear is the best thing in the world. And learn how to negotiate, because you will need to negotiate in marriage. Marriage is all about negotiations. Am I right, Andy?
The art of the deal.
It's give and take.
Yeah. So you want to get the better end, and never ever be like this. Only time I'm going to tell you to be like a Democrat. Never ever pass up a chance to have leverage. Never. Am I right, Andy?
Always keep that feather back.
Am I right?
You're not wrong.
Okay, there you go.
You're not wrong. Where are y'all honeymooning at?
So we're going to the Grand Cayman.
There you go. Beautiful.
Yep, we're going 7 Mile Beach, White Sands, Stingray City. So it'll be really looking forward to it. But the wedding is down in Mississippi, so it will be hot and muggy.
Are you flying nonstop?
We're going from Memphis to Charlotte into Grand Cayman.
Oh, you're fucked.
Why?
Anything with a connecting flight these days is a damn.
You'll be all right. They've got all that.
Freaking
You're not flying
dice.
American, are you? You're flying American.
He's flying American. I fly American. That's who I would rather fly for. Fly with. I really do.
I only say that is because they're the ones that are having all the problems right now.
Yeah, it was Southwest. Now it's American. We're flying American to New Orleans in a couple of weeks.
I like being able to pick my seat, so I don't like Southwest. I don't like the random get on as you. Exactly. I like being able to get a aisle seat.
Yeah,
and for $35 extra, you can board in group A or whatever it was in Southwest. I used to like we used to just check in as soon as you're supposed to, and you got number 17 or 15 or whatever. Now they want you to pay extra. You're going to be in the back of the phone. I'm like you. I'm not a Southwest guy at all. We flew Delta the other day, and Payne is always telling me he likes flying Delta better because of the TV and all the seats, and it's free entertainment, blah blah, and free bags. And Delta was not bad.
Delta was very good.
It was not a bad airline at all, but I'm the same. I just don't. I like flying American, but God Almighty, I get so sick and tired of getting canceled and delayed everywhere you go.
I haven't had a problem recently. Knock on.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just fucked yourself.
This isn't the time to have a problem though.
If Andy's getting on a plane with you, it's a big thing. And it's funny. We flew the other day. We flew and we were odd numbers, and we were on a plane. Our last stretch was flights with 2 seats on each side, a smaller plane. And so it's me back there, and I'm thinking, boy, I hope I got some skinny person. Fucking Mama June from Honey Boo Boo at her fattest age. I'm sitting with you. I thought, oh, shit. We looked like 2 fat Twinkies stuck inside a goddamn shoebox. It was terrible.
Our last one, me and my fiance, Ann Wallace, we went to Atlanta to get our global entry, which includes pre-checks. So the closest we signed up 2 months ago to get it, but the closest date was August, within a reasonable distance. And then they had one pop up in Atlanta, so we decided to fly down. We visited one of my friends, went to Braves game, and then it was out of Jackson, Tennessee here, the flight, and it was a little 6-seater, smaller plane, which I enjoy flying on those, but they can make some people nervous.
I enjoyed the flight.
I liked the fact that Delta is like pitch black, and you can just zone in on your little TV, or if you want, you can go to sleep. I'm a Delta guy now.
You couldn't have went on that flight. I was with Big Girl.
Well, you got to pick your running mate a little bit better, but
and then I got in trouble because she was a rather large lady, and she was a really nice lady, very nice lady, and she's rather large. And I asked her if she'd thought about having stomach surgery.
Who just randomly says that to people?
I do. She asked for an extended lap belt, and I was like, "Listen, honey, I used to be in the same boat you were about 100 pounds ago." I said, "Listen, there's ways to fix that." And so I was real nice and talked to her about it. She wrote down the information in her phone.
Do you get like a voucher every time that you?
I don't care about that.
But I'm saying, like, do you get like a voucher every time that you recommend somebody to this? Because you recommend it often.
I just see a lot of fat people. Oh. I have not one time went up to a skinny person and said, "Hey, have you thought about getting your stomach stapled shut?" Right. Not one time. Or your jaw broke.
At least you didn't do the Phil Robertson and go up to her and ask her if she was pregnant.
Right.
I did that one time. I went to school with a blonde-headed girl that was absolutely a freaking 10.1 on a 1 to 10. Beautiful, beautiful girl. I mean, Farrah Fawcett looking back in the mid-'80s. Hot, smoking hot girl. Well, she went off to Dallas, and I saw her like 4 years later at a club one night, and she's like, "Hey, how you doing?" I was like, "Oh, hey, how are you doing?" I said, "Oh, you're pregnant," and I patted her belly. But pregnant women have a real tight stomach that's hard as a rock. This fucking deal, my fist went clear into. And she's like, she started crying. "No, I'm not pregnant. I'm just fat." What do you say? You can't say, "No, honey, you're not fat," because she was fat.
Right.
And that's a bad deal.
Oh, I felt so bad.
That's a bad deal.
Because
there's no walking that back.
No, and she was a nice. She's a friend of mine. Well, she passed away, but she was a really good friend of mine.
Heart disease.
Heart
disease get her.
I don't know what happened, but anyways, she was a nice person, but she was smoke show, but I always felt bad about that because I wasn't trying to be rude. I just assumed someone as hot as her would never be as look bad as she did at the time.
Logan and Rebel can put that on their next bad deals.
It was a bad deal. Well, let's talk Hemp Hill Pharm CBD. My question is, you sent me some gummies. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. I think I can in Texas because
yes. So those are federally legal. There's only a few states that I can't sell those Delta 8 in.
Okay, what is Delta 8? That's my question. What is Delta 8?
So in the cannabis plant, hemp and marijuana, there are over 100 different cannabinoids. CBD is a cannabinoid, THC is a cannabinoid, but there's a lot of different varieties of THC. There's Delta 9 THC, there's Delta 8 THC, Delta 10, THCO, THCP. So there's a lot of different variations, and Delta 8 is just one of those different types of THC. But in 2018 is when the federal farm bill was passed that legalized hemp. The growing of hemp, that was all cannabis that's under 0.3% Delta 9 THC, and in their wording of writing it Delta 9 THC, they didn't regulate as long as it didn't have above 0.3% Delta 9, it could have THC 8 or Delta 8, Delta 10, and all these other different cannabinoids, and really. You can legally make about a 10 milligram Delta 9 gummy, hemp derived, which is the same thing that you would go into the store in Colorado. But that's a gray area. That's a very gray area.
Right.
So we stay in the crystal clear water of legality.
So Delta 8 is basically the same thing. If I went in Michigan and I went and bought to a pharmacy and I bought some gummies to help me sleep at night, the Delta 8 is basically the same thing I'm getting there strength-wise. Am I correct?
Yes. So Delta 8 might be a little bit more mild. It's not as potent as Delta 9, but it is very close. And then those gummies, so the ones that I sent you are a mixture. So they have 20 milligrams. It's full spectrum. So it has 20 milligrams of CBD. There's CBG in there, which is beneficial for sleep. There's the full spectrum. There's a little bit of the Delta 9 because it is a full spectrum CBD extract. And then we've included the 10 milligrams of Delta 8 in that gummy.
How do you sleep at night, Jeff?
I sleep pretty good usually.
There you go.
I say my issue with sleep is I'm the older I get a busier mind. Like I used to be.
I have trouble shutting my mind off to fall asleep. Once I go to sleep, I'm fine.
If I get in bed at 11 o'clock at night, I go to sleep by midnight. It takes me an hour, a toss and turn, and I go to sleep. Once I go to sleep, though, I sleep really, really, really good for about 5 to 6 hours. But once I wake up, I'm fucked.
When do you quit looking at your phone?
I'm getting where I put the phone on the other side of the room so I don't look at it. Otherwise, if I don't do that shit, every time I wake up, I'll think of looking at my phone. Like, who the fuck's gonna text you at 1:15 in the morning or send you a message or wanting to book a hunt? There's nobody doing that shit. But then you pick up your phone, and then the next thing you know, you're looking at some monkeys riding a bike on TikTok or some shit, and it's 3:15 in the morning, and you're like, I'd be up in 4 hours or 3 hours. And so I try to take my phone and put it away. I can't turn it off. But that would be the best thing if I turn my phone off at night. But I do sleep a lot better since I've been taking the gummies. I'm going to give you everybody that listens to this podcast knows I'm not I hate to say I sound like a hypocrite now, but I'm not anything into smoking any kind of marijuana at all. Nothing. I can't stand the smell of it. But since I've been taking them gummies, I don't have a hangover when I wake up in the morning like I do if I take Tylenol PM or Advil PM. I mean, I wake up and I feel fine. If I take Tylenol PM, I'm sluggish in the mornings.
I can't remember the active compound in those sleep aids, but they do leave most people drowsy and groggy.
And
But since this is a natural way to do it, you're not going to necessarily have that grogginess.
That's why the big pharma hates this shit, because you can't grow hydrocodone or Advil PM in your backyard, but
you cannot.
But you can grow the marijuana.
Yes.
I took Ambien one time. Let me tell you something right now. There are a lot of fuckers have done dumb shit on Ambien out there, because I don't even remember some nights I'd sleep on that shit. I threw that shit away about 3 or 4 years ago. But that shit, I'm telling you what, you take that shit in the bathroom, it's a long walk to the bedroom, 7 steps away. You're a good chance you're going to fall out between there in the bathroom.
Yeah, so Tylenol PM has diphenhydramine, which is Benadryl, basically, or Unisom or Somanex. So, but it's also got acetaminophen for pain.
Yeah. Our good friend that's a doctor told me one time, he said, if you're going to take Tylenol PM, he said, you might as well just take a Benadryl every night.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
And then you might not have allergies.
Right. Except it's just got
acetaminophen. Benadryl and an ibuprofen or a Tylenol.
Right. Yeah. So, okay, explain to me this. I've got a friend of mine that's very sick right now. He's come down with a very horrible disease. And he can't eat anything at all. His digestive tract's not working and stuff. What y'all give him, if he takes a gummy, is that going to affect him the same way as taking a pain pill will for his pain? Where it's gonna shut down the organs where he can't, because pain meds make you constipated, right?
Yes.
Correct. Yes, opioids do. And so let me describe the system of how CBD in our body works. Our body has the endocannabinoid system already built into it. We have everywhere there is an opioid receptor. We have the endocannabinoid system. We have CB1 and CB2 receptors all around our body. But instead of blocking the pain like opioids do, CBD and other cannabinoids attach to those receptors to help your body boost that endocannabinoid system to kind of naturally reduce the problems in your body that's affecting you. Whether that's, I'm gonna say, people that deal with inflammation. We're heavily regulated on what we can say. We're not supposed to say inflammation. We're not supposed to say sleep. So, and as a supplement is how the FDA regulates. I'm going to go ahead and say the statement. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. I'm going to say that before we start saying any of this other stuff. So the main reason people use it is for inflammation in the body, and then secondary is anxiety. Those are the two main benefits for CBD. The main thing that people use THC for are appetite, can help with reduce nausea, and so that would be there. A lot of people think we're waiting for marijuana to become legal to get the benefits, but they don't understand that CBD has the majority of the benefits that they're wanting. The THC side is just going to help with immediate pain relief to more block it, than to actually help target those CB1 and CB2 receptors to go to the spot of your inflammation or pain that around the body, whether it's the stomach, muscles, joints.
So why do you have to say all that? Like, why is the FDA? Why have they not looked into these things?
Because they're still looking for a way to make a drug out of it and sell it through the pharmaceutical industry.
I gotcha.
It's called profit.
In my
I
opinion.
understand.
In my opinion. So
right. I mean, like this is a very, very old. It's been around forever. Marijuana, cannabis, and it's like we still haven't done our research.
They have.
So the way it used to be made is people used to sell it in bottles. They would used to soak it in alcohol, and so once, and I'll get into our growing and extraction process, but we'll back in before 1937, when the tax bill on marijuana went into legislation, they used to soak the flower of the hemp plant, cannabis plant, because there was no word marijuana before the 30s. They made it up. It was to skew bad light on the plant to make people think of Hispanics
right.
and African Americans when using the plant. So they used to just drink the alcohol, which for us, it goes through an ethanol extraction and food grade ethanol extraction process to get it to concentrate. But then we heat it up to get the alcohol off before it goes into our products. And so, back in the old days, they just used to consume the alcohol along with the hemp extract, and that's how they used to consume it before it went illegal.
Really? I wonder what that kind of buzz was like. 'Cause now you got alcohol on top of.
So, I'll try. So last year, I grew. The geese found the local park geese found my hemp field, and they pulled up half of my transplants last year. But some of the plants that I had left, we have a Sam Bryant's distillery here in West Tennessee. He bought some plants from me, and in his moonshine, he soaked the flower, and he didn't sell it. This was not for sale, but he gave it away to friends and family. And that was what cough syrup used to be in olden times, was just some form of alcohol with hemp or cannabis or flower infused alcohol.
Where in Mexico, didn't they have some cannabis infused tequila?
Yeah, but I think that was a farce. I bought some, and then I started looking, and I don't know. I think I got rookie deal.
If you go to Isla Mujeres and you go to the tequila deal, don't buy the fucking coconut tequila, because they give you this shot of this shit that tastes great. And Michelle's like, "Oh, we need a bottle of that. We need a bottle of this." We got home. It was very disappointing.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't think that's the same thing they gave us as the test bottles.
I'm trying, and it froze. So like,
that's not much alcohol.
Tequila is not supposed to freeze because it's got all alcohol, and the shit. I put it in the freezer like I do all my other tequila, and
it come out like a block of ice.
Fucking frozen. So
it froze.
So I'm pretty sure they saw me coming.
Low proof.
Yeah,
low proof.
Yeah, they saw me coming.
Andy's got sucker road all over him.
They saw me coming.
I'm telling you.
But they do. They sell you different shit. Like Jeff said. You get over there, it's an hour catamaran ride, and they're
maybe.
So you snorkel a little bit, and you get the seawater in your mouth.
You drink 10 Miami Vices is what you did.
Yeah, and then they start feeding you full of booze, beer with that little bit of salt on your lips is phenomenal, and then like that transitions into pina coladas, and anyway. So you spend an hour drinking before you ever get over there, and then they're pouring this tasty tequila down your throat. And fuck yeah, you buy a bunch and you get home. You don't open it until you get home, because you don't want that shit all over your luggage. And then you get home and you realize that they screwed you. So
I remember as a kid, my parents doing that. We went to the Virgin Islands or wherever. I can't remember where Cruisin' Rum is made, but wherever Cruisin' Rum was made, they brought back, I don't know, 12 with the maximum that you could bring back, and then it just sat in the. Not saying that Cruisin' Rum's bad, but.
Yeah,
it came back and sat in the pantry for a while.
I've still got both bottles. They're sitting in the freezer, nice and sound. So, I don't, whatever. They got me. Not to derail this too much, but I was, I saw something, and ketchup was used for medicine a long time ago. That's actually what it's intended.
Ketchup
That was their original marketing.
What was the
supposed to cure everything from broken bones to. I'm serious.
You got a compound fracture of the femur.
I'm serious.
Put some Heinz on that shit.
They would do. They use ketchup capsules, and it was supposed to be a cure-all. And then the FDA looked into that and found out that was horse shit. So,
do you think there's a
ketchup and drink a Coca-Cola?
Yeah, right.
Do you think that there's a big difference in ketchup from the generic to the name brand?
Yes.
People go crazy over Whataburger ketchup.
Yeah.
Even Hunt's and what's the main one?
Heinz.
I can't just mind blank. Heinz and Hellman's
Hellman's makes mayonnaise.
Hunt's is not as good in my opinion as I'm going mind blank. The other one, the main one.
Heinz and Hunt's.
Hunt's.
I don't have ketchup unless I have a tamale or a fucking French fry. I don't hardly ever eat French fries.
Yeah, 1830, tomato ketchup was sold as medicine that could cure ailments like diarrhea, indigestion, and jaundice. The idea was originally proposed by Dr. John Cook Bennett, an American physician.
Isn't ketchup just blended up tomatoes with some salt and stuff in it?
Got extra shit,
sugar and salt.
Yeah,
I mean that's what's in it though. I mean it's nothing more than just tomatoes. Probably got some corn syrup.
It's got a lot of shit in it. Today's ketchup does. When the Heinz people got a hold of it, it changed.
We went somewhere. Well, it's John Kerry's fuck up. We went somewhere to eat one time, and they had homemade ketchup, and
Right.
I was not a big fan.
Tomato, sugar, vinegar with seasoning and spices.
But I mean, there's not much more to it, though. That's what I'm saying.
Sugar.
Just tomatoes. So tomatoes are good for you.
And a lot of sugar. It's got a lot of sugar in it.
The sugar is not good.
No.
That is not good for you. That's where the FDA probably dinged them.
And so to get back, I know you like the gummies, but so when I'll bring it back into sleep. So you take the Delta 8 gummies for sleep. I always start out recommending people taking those that have tried other sleep aids to sleep in the past. For everybody else just starting out that has not tried any of those, I would recommend starting to just the CBD products, because a lot of the CBD products will do the same, get you to the same task of falling asleep and reducing the inflammation and pain in your body that the THC gummies will. It's just
so take the CBD gummies or the ones with the ones that you sent me ones with the green.
For you were already used to the THC gummies, so I'd recommended you take those, right, because you had already been using those for sleep. But if somebody is looking to try a product, I recommend them starting out with just the CBD gummies. Or where I was getting into this was we were talking about sugar, ketchup. But so the gummies have sugar in them, and sugar is not necessarily good for you. It is an inflammatory product. So the best way to uptake CBD is through the oils.
Oh.
And it's through, so you take sublingual oil underneath your tongue, and it absorbs you get some absorption through your bloodstream, and then you swallow the rest. And then it goes through first pass metabolism, and then it transfers all over the body that way. So the oil is organic coconut oil, and then our hemp extract. You just mix the organic coconut oil to get it to the strength you want per bottle, and then that is the cleanest, best way to uptake CBD is through the oil, or if you don't like the taste, we have soft gels.
Ooh, them soft gels is my way to go.
Why?
Right. So. But if you want to try these, you're already taking the Delta 8, so I will send you some of these out as well. I don't know I think I sent y'all a roll-on.
Yes,
and I tell those are good.
I've done something to my Achilles. I don't know what it is. I think I might have like plantar fasciitis or something, but it's
that won't hurt your Achilles.
But I've read it, Jeff. It's all in the heel.
I've tore both of my Achilles.
It's all in the heel.
But I've had plantar fasciitis, and I'm telling you right now, your fucking plantar fasciitis don't hurt on your calf.
Well, it hurts either way.
No, plantar fasciitis hurts under your foot is where it's at.
My heel has been really giving me fits.
Did you put the salve or the roll-on?
The roll-on.
The roll-on?
Yes.
Okay.
And it is almost like immediate.
Yes, it is. So I've had people use the salve on plantar fasciitis before, but I haven't had somebody use the roll-on. So it's good to know that works for that as well.
Hold on. Andy does not have plantar fasciitis on his fucking calf.
What do I have then? It said
there's two of us in here.
WebMD'd it. I'm either fucking pregnant or I've got plantar fasciitis.
I have tore both of my Achilles. Both Achilles mine have been completely ruptured. I've had them put back together. And when you do that, you get plantar fasciitis because your foot is at an angle for 90 days. You don't fucking hurt back here. Your plantar fasciitis hurts on the bottom of your feet.
Bottom of your foot.
You're rubbing it on your Achilles. You've probably strained that Achilles, and you're probably going to tear it because you're how old are you?
Okay, here
you're
we go.
35 years old.
Can plantar fasciitis cause pain in the Achilles? Plantar fasciitis is part of the structure that helps maintain the arch of the foot. Often, the patient who has a tightness of plantar fasciitis will subsequently develop a secondary Achilles tendonitis. That's all it is, tendonitis.
It's not plantar fasciitis.
But it said that it is from plantar fasciitis.
Anyways, the roll-on stuff, we have a game we play in our pool where my grandkids get on my back, and in 4 foot of water, I walk up and down running with them all the time. And when I do that, my right knee kills me because I'm fucking old and fat.
Right.
Anyways, I took the roll-on and I put that on there at nighttime, and like Andy says, it's almost immediate relief. It's scary how freaking much the CBD cannabis stuff help people, and it's a shame our freaking country is bought and sold by big pharma, because there's no reason why people that have everything from cancer to any disease at all, there's some benefactors by taking this stuff.
Well, I mean, you've talked
agree.
about your mom on this.
Yeah, my
and
mom.
how she goes to a pain manager, and they'll just hand out fentanyl patches like they're going out of style,
and have a sign
and signs as you walk in that say, well, what do they say?
If you use CBD oil, you cannot be in this program. Blah blah. Blah. Yeah, it's because you don't want them selling you the fucking $high drugs.
They're trying to keep the problem occurring so that they can keep you coming back is what that is. So we initially got into this because of that. We saw with my sister Kelly Nelson Gaffney. She passed away 6 years ago from ovarian. She had stage 4 ovarian cancer, and in 2016 she was diagnosed, and she fought it for a little over a year, and she went through chemo. She had surgery. They had her on all these different pain medicines, and she was losing weight. She was well under 100 pounds, and just couldn't eat, nauseous, pain. And so there at the end, we found cannabis, and we were doing very, very high doses of CBD. And then she had a vape pen that the CBD went and helped reduce the inflammation that was causing the pain, in our opinion. We saw it firsthand. I mean, there is no study, and this was before we had our product. So, and then the vape pen that she was using would help her sleep, reduce nausea, give back her appetite. So the appetite is the main thing for THC, and that's what she started gaining weight again. And just cannabis just gave her quality of life there at the end.
Right.
And that's as a family, I never thought I'd be growing any form of this plant with my family. I majored in forestry from Mississippi State. I was working in the timber industry when she came down with this, and so after we saw the benefits, I kept working, and then the 2018 Farm Bill was passed, and that's when we started researching. We had found for Kelly, and then after that we started using as a family for different things. We were using products from a company in Oregon and Colorado, and we wanted to be able to offer a product here in the Southeast that it was grown organically, because all those farms out there in Colorado and Oregon, they were family farms. They grew it organically. They grew it from seed and then managed it all the way to finished product. And that's what we do. We wanted to be able to offer the same thing here in the Southeast and everywhere in the country, but mainly starting out was just our goal was local. And so we started researching. I was still working in the timber industry, and I was a lumber inspector, helped run dry kilns. So a lot of those things helped kind of correlate in. I went from growing big trees to little trees. But we started researching for a year, and then we decided to go ahead and plant. We got our permit. The first year we got our permit, it was a 40-page document that we had to get through the Tennessee Department of Agriculture, and that permit allowed us to grow hemp in our field. We had to have GPS coordinates, and so the last day of my job was 2014, and the next day we transplanted our first crop into the ground, and I quit my job, and I was in the field from June 15th every day from daylight to dark until the end of October. I took 2 days off to go to Atlanta to visit for some friends, just one weekend as a break in between. But other than that, I didn't leave the field. So that was four years ago. Last month is when we started growing as a family and growing the plants out in the field. And so it's just me, my brother-in-law, my sister. They're both pharmacists, so I have the ag degree. I'll bring this back in. I have the ag degree. My sister and brother-in-law are both pharmacists, and so as a teamwork, we were like, we can offer a pharmacist formulated, organically grown, quality products from seed to finished product, from the topical products to the internal products and our pet CBD. I'll tell the story about my dog Jake here in a little bit, but that's kind of the beginning of how we got into
How many
it.
acres of hemp do y'all have?
So I grow on average about 2,000 plants a year.
2,000 plants.
About,
how many acres is that?
I have it spread out about 2 acres.
So you can put you're running a whole business off 2 acres of hemp.
I am.
Man. So what's, okay, my question is for the idiot like me out there that's listening to this, and we have a few idiots that listen to this besides me. What is the difference between marijuana and hemp? Is it the THC?
It is the amount of THC that is the legal definition. So, just like any other plant, you can grow different varieties, and over the years, so take out the word. Hemp has been bred over the years to have low THC and high CBD. Marijuana has been bred to have high THC and low CBD. Just because, and then marijuana can have lower in the definition, it can have lower THC and still have a higher CBD. But as long as it's above that 0.3% delta 9 THC, then it's considered marijuana. So I could take a male marijuana plant and a female hemp plant and breed them together, and they're going to have about even parts THC to CBD. So it's not. That's what the word hemp and marijuana and people. It would be like taking corn and then saying we have grass, yellow kernels, and then we have a Hispanic word for something else, but still describing corn or a tomato plant or anything like that. So it's really confusing on how for a lot of people. I mean, it's taken me 4 years and I'm still learning. You never stop learning, and no matter what industry you're in.
Well, Mississippi is about like Texas. Y'all are going to be one of the last ones probably to legalize marijuana. Am I wrong on that or correct on that?
Well, he's in Tennessee.
Here in Tennessee.
You're in Tennessee. Tennessee, y'all are.
Jackson,
I was thinking
Jackson got him.
Tennessee.
Jackson, Tennessee, and I went to Mississippi State.
That's what got me. Now in Tennessee though, y'all are borderline fixing to do legalize marijuana.
Because how does that work? Because in Nashville, there's dispensaries, but only
there are not dispensaries in Nashville. They call themselves dispensaries. They're dispensing Delta 8, Delta 10 products. So they're not dispensing medical marijuana. They're not dispensing by the legal definition marijuana. They are dispensing other THC forms, but it's all hemp derived cannabinoids.
So this is so not confusing. Just okay, Clark.
Well,
questions.
it's just there's so many different.
And there's a fine line. So
the loopholes,
the percentages, the gummies gummies that you sent me, compared to a marijuana gummy that helps you sleep, what's the potency difference? Any?
So we made our Delta 8 THC at a 10 milligram dose because that is the maximum legal per dose that you can buy in a THC gummy in Colorado. So we based a lot of our things on the Delta 8 side off of what other states that had gone legal had done in the past, because here in Tennessee, it was the Wild West up until 2 days ago when new legislation went into effect on the Delta 8 products.
So I guess what I'm trying to get at is for the person's listening, they're like, well, goddamn, I can just buy some gummies and drive to Colorado and get gummies. You can have the same shit legally sent to you that you're going all the way to Colorado to get, right? So yes. For all my friends in Texas and other places that don't have drug dealers sending shit to them like Andy does, you're getting the same basic gummies legally sent to you at your house that you can get by going to the states that are what's Michigan? How many? There's not how many states are completely.
So the states that I can't ship to are Colorado and some of the medical. The states that already have medical marijuana are the states that I can't ship to because they've put it in their medical marijuana bill that it's all THC products have to be sold through those dispensaries.
So Texas, we're going to be the last state to go legal. Do you think, Andy? Do you think that's pretty close?
Unless Matthew McConaughey becomes governor.
Well, that ain't going to happen.
No. Tennessee, we're so entrenched with HCA and other healthcare and pharmaceutical providers. It's going to go federally legal here, in my opinion. It's going to go federally legal, and then Tennessee will be years behind that, in my opinion.
So it's good for your business, though. But what I'm telling people is, if you live in a state like we do, you can get the same product.
Yes. You can go to hemphillpharm.com and buy. I always recommend it depends what you're using the products for. If you're using it for joints and muscles, I just recommend the CBD. But if you want the THC side of things, you can get our Delta 8 gummies. But for the majority of joints, muscles, even with sleep, if you haven't tried a cannabinoid product before, go CBD and try our full spectrum CBD products first before you get into the psychoactive THC side of things, because a lot of times, I personally don't use THC. Like if I go to Colorado, I'll go to a dispensary. If we go skiing or something like that where it's legal, I will. But I personally don't use THC products. I stick to either our oil or our soft gels. I take those every day because at the sawmill I wreck my back. Like I through college I worked there at the sawmill, pulling lumber through school during summers, and then I was a lumber inspector, flipped thousands and thousands of boards a day, and so I take it for my lower back. And I just take either the soft gels or a dropper full of the oil underneath my tongue every day, and for that, and then use the roll on my lower back, and then joints I recommend the salve.
What's funny is when I grew up, there was kids that smoked pot, of course, but but it wasn't just like crazy probably in the 70s, but it was always the same shit. The kid was all fucked up and he smelled like fucking skunk, and he had Visine, carried Visine in his jacket.
Yeah.
And he always wanted to argue about how it was good for you. Well, it obviously wasn't good for you because you weighed 118 pounds and all you did was smoke pot all the damn time. This kid, but what's a different world now, because and that kid was right. Some of the things he was saying was right, but it was an excuse for him to get high. He wasn't worried about his joints hurting.
He didn't wake up with a sore back.
No, it was all about getting high.
I got to work this
at
out.
the bus stop at 7:15 in the morning.
Right. I didn't sleep very good last night.
Yeah.
That was a secondary benefit. He was doing it to get high, yeah. and so that's one of the things that our Delta 8 gummies that we have on the website. It does have the THC, but we've added in our 20 milligrams of CBD, because most THC products out there are going to be isolated just for that. But we've added our CBD to it, so that you're going to get the benefits of all of it. If you do want the Delta 8, we've added the CBD to it, so you're going to get the benefits of the CBD as well with the THC.
And so basically, your Delta 8 gummies are psychoactive, and that's the only difference.
That's the only THC product we have.
Right.
I have eight other products: the roll-ons, salves, gummies, the CBD gummies, and then the CBD soft gels. But
yeah, that's the only product. I'm on your website right now, and that's the only product that has any THC in it. But so
correct.
So
above it's still below the legal limit, but all the CBD products have a small amount of Delta 9 THC, but it's below the legal limit. And so when you're using CBD, you want full spectrum hemp extract. You want the full spectrum. The closest it came to growing the plant is how you want it. When you hear about isolates, they've isolated out just CBD, and it doesn't have any other beneficial cannabinoids that are naturally grown in the plant. The fastest way to uptake is smoking, but I don't sell smokable, because anytime you you do go through inhalation of any smoke or vapor, it's not good for you. So the secondary is we extract all that full spectrum hemp extract out and then put it in our product. So you're getting all the beneficial, the CBD, the little bit of Delta 9 THC, but it's below the legal limit of 0.3%. They just work really well in the body to attach to the CB1 and CB2 receptors.
So when did hemp and cannabis split, like in like evolutionary terms? And if they did, like, when was it? Because you said hemp has been bred to have high CBD, low THC. Cannabis has been manufactured to have high THC, low CBD. Was there ever a point in history that we know that they were basically the same plant, and then we've just kind of genetically modified them to fit different avenues?
So there just around the world there were just different varieties. I don't know if there was a single, just like there's a lot of different
Right.
species of different things. I don't think there was one set standard of cannabis plant. I think in different regions you had some that had higher THC maybe, and that's what they've done recently is pulled all those genetics from over the years, just kept breeding high THC with high THC, and then for us it's high CBD with high CBD to keep getting higher levels, so that for me I can extract more CBD per pound on a higher percentage CBD plant than I could off of a lower plant. And to get into the growing process, all of the CBD that I get is from female plants. Like it's all, and there a common misconception is that the marijuana plant is a female and then the hemp plant is a male, which it's not. Whether it's marijuana or hemp, you are going for the female plant for that flower or the bud of the plant, and that is where the cannabinoids, the CBD, in our case, that is where it is housed and grown.
So, whenever you get the oils and stuff out, is it a similar process as what some people would see with marijuana? Like, whenever you're harvesting plants, I mean, are you basically like cutting the buds off just like a marijuana plant would be?
So yeah, pretty much. I go out in the field. I cut all 2,000 plants down with loppers.
Really?
I just go with the hedge trimmers. I have a tarp on the back of the gator and a trailer, and I have a 40 by 60 barn on the farm that I have set up with it's HVAC. I have industrial dehumidifiers to keep it at the exact humidity for optimal drying temperatures, and then I have fans all around the room to help with airflow. So the growing of the plants is probably the most important, that you grow it organically in good soil and make sure there's nothing in the soil tests and testing of the plants. That is the most important. So we do our own third-party testing while the plants are growing out in the field. And then before we harvest, we're required by the state of Tennessee to have a state inspection. So the state hemp inspector will come out and take his own sample to make sure it is below the legal limit of 0.3% delta-9 THC. And then we're able to harvest. And then so from middle to end of September all the way through October is my harvest season. And I'll go through and cut down those plants, take them up in the barn. I'll dry it. I'll fill that barn up three times. I have built these drying racks in there that I cut off every single branch of those 2,000 plants and then individually lay them out. And then put another last full, which last year the geese ate half my plants, but the year before, the year I got them back on opening day of early goose season last year. But the year before I lost 20 plus pounds from September 15th to the end of October, just from harvesting and drying. Because once it's been dried, I then have to strip all the flower or bud off the limb. So once I've dried it, I strip all the flower off each individual limb. It goes through the bucking process. And then once it goes into super sacks after that, and then it goes to the extraction process.
So when did they change the word to marijuana? Because that whole thing is interesting.
1930s is when that happened. So it all also revolves around when prohibition of alcohol ended was right around that same time. You had kind of the perfect storm. You had all of these law enforcement officers that were about to be out of jobs that were chasing after alcohol, and then you had the tax bill of 1937, the marijuana tax bill that basically made it illegal to grow and sell cannabis. That's hemp. That's marijuana. But that is when they came up with the word marijuana to kind of skew that bad light.
That's fascinating that they would go so far as to completely change come up with another word. Did Mexicans call it marijuana? Is that how they found it?
I don't believe so, but I don't know the exact origin of that. So right after they made it illegal during the World War II, they actually made it unillegal again. So because they had to have the hemp fiber, which that's a completely different industry. So I mean, they had to have the hemp fiber for rope,
right,
and different things for the war effort. And then right after the war, they made it.
But that was
again.
because of Dow Chemical, wasn't it? Because they had the patent on poly to do poly ropes.
Yes. So it was Dow Chemical, and then you had William Randolph Hearst, who owned a lot of the timberland and paper companies, and so that was the real backer, the push, because you had with my major being forestry, I studied that in college, and so I can see the correlation between all the different products that we make out of wood used to be and can be made out of hemp fiber. So that was a
You know, it's crazy that you had a media mogul that ran the world. Do you know who William Randolph Hearst was, Andy?
Mrs. Hearst's son.
Yes, he owned the San Francisco newspaper, and I think he owned maybe at one time the Chicago Sun-Times or something else too. But the Hearst Castle in Southern California is a real famous, or I don't know if it's Southern, I think it's up by San Francisco, but he was the Jeff Bezos of his time, basically, because Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post now. Now, Jeff Bezos makes his money off Amazon, but William Hearst made all his money in the newspaper deals. What all did he own? It was a San Francisco newspaper for sure, wasn't it?
I'm trying to find it. Yeah, I mean, quick answer.
There's a Hearst Castle up there.
Yeah, the Hearst Castle is a famous place that.
The Hearst Castle is in San Francisco?
It's somewhere outside, maybe it's San Clemente, maybe?
That sounds right, but one of the reasons why there's a wild zebra herd in California is because their zebras were released when they stopped maintaining some of the grounds.
He had a daughter that did something. I can't remember if she slept with somebody or got murdered or something, got kidnapped. But there's a story about his daughter. But that in the Roaring 30s, his castle had all kinds of. It was the Epstein Island, basically, of Hollywood, I think, at the time.
Oh, really?
I don't know that they were trafficking kids then, but there was a lot of wild debauchery and stuff there. Charlie Chaplin, Clark Gable, that's where all they hung out at. And it might be somewhere down by Palm Springs, but the Hearst Castles. But I did not realize he was in the lumber business also.
Well, he was invested in because all the paper for his newspapers. From what I've read and what I understand is that he also had the investments in the backside of that as well.
I think he also was involved with Joe Kennedy on some stuff because Joe Kennedy also invested in Hollywood pretty hard. And I think they were partners on some deals. But, back then, a guy that owned a big newspaper, he could control the media, and it was no other outlets to have.
Right.
Like today we have internet and shit. Back then, you had newspapers. That was it. There wasn't no TV shows. There wasn't even radio. So whatever you read, they did 2 papers a day.
I've shut news off, so y'all are who I get my news from now, which is
you're getting slant. You're getting a slant on a couple things.
Pretty slanted. But if you live in Paris, France right now, take your head out of your ass and wake up pretty quick because you're fucked because the Muslims are taking over.
I know you don't watch the news, but have you seen any of that's going on in France?
I have not.
Holy hell!
They're burning that place down.
Bad, and somehow they've all got military grade weapons. Like one guy had a belt fed machine gun.
Now these are people that came from Islamic countries, and I don't want to name them because I can't. I'm sure I'll fuck it all up. But
you know where they got the guns?
Fuck yeah, they did. We left them in Afghanistan.
No.
I was kidding about that, but
they got them from the Ukraine.
Well, yeah, but it's the same pile of money,
right?
But they're tearing up. They're tearing up Paris. I mean, they're burning it down. Matter of fact, I saw they was maybe going to declare martial law today, and a couple of generals are not getting along with the prime minister.
Macron.
Yeah, and they're wanting to throw his ass. It's a fucked up mess. But the problem is, you have all these people feel sorry for all these immigrants that come here. Those immigrants are now wanting to turn that place into the shithole that they're from, and that's what they're doing right now. But they literally have machine guns on the street, these 18, 19, and 20-year-old infidels and shooting up shit. And it's bad. It's if I had family that lived in Paris, any of the big cities, I would be really, really nervous.
I'm surprised I haven't seen that. I say I don't.
The
watch
media don't show it.
No, they're not showing
news
it. They're not showing it. They came out today, and the French president is shutting all social media down. So you're not going to be able to get any information out or any information in if you live in France. I saw a guy we had on, John Dunaway. I think it's either Dunaway or Dunaway. Doesn't matter. Anyway, he goes by Abstract Conformity on Instagram. He was just over there. And he went over there with another couple, and then they split after they left Paris. So they went to Switzerland, and then these people stayed in France. And he said his friends, they had to evacuate a subway while they were there because they heard there was a bomb threat. And then they were like shopping with like Fifth Avenue or whatever, and they were escorted out of there because the rioters were coming. So like they just barely missed everything.
Until somebody stands up and mows down these fucking looters and shit, this shit's going to continue to happen. You know, I mean, it's crazy the way these thugs, they have no respect. But these people have done it. They've taken all the cops away, and their cops got to carry batons. They can't have guns and shit. Well, when the bad guy's got a gun and the cop's got a fucking baton, the bad guy's going to win. But we have just let these people take over. But it's absolutely, it's scary. And I mean, could you imagine if this was in New York or LA or whatever it was, and they shut all the social media and shit down?
So anyway, that's what's going on in France. But we can get back to hemp.
Yeah, I want to talk hemp anyways more.
The basic, so in the 30s, so we ban it, and then we need hemp for the war. We legalize it, and then was there an infrastructure already like in place to go forward with hemp while the war was going on? Like were there people like, okay, like this is going to be a legitimate business, and then just got the legs cut out from under them?
Yeah, so we already had, before it went illegal in 1937. There was that was a huge industry. Right. So like the Declaration of Independence was written on hemp paper. All masts and sails of old sailing ships, that's what it was made out of, was hemp fiber. So there was already a huge industry for it. It just, the timber industry kind of took over and pushed to have it made illegal, and that's when in the 30s is what happened with the making it illegal. Then
how do they turn hemp into paper? Have you ever seen that process?
Yeah, so that's the decortication process. So with my forestry degree, I was sustainable bioproducts. It was the woke today. So when I started forestry, my concentration was forest products, and halfway through they switched it to sustainable bioproducts, to make it sound more modern and whatever. But so any time with my degree, it was wood physics, wood chemistry, wood anatomy, wood biology. So we made all these oriented strand board, OSB board, plywood, and different things. You can make all of that out of the fiber. So how you get the fiber is through the decortication process. It's a thrashing machine that separates the fiber and then the center of the hurd, which the hurd and the pith. The interior part of the hemp plant, the cannabis plant, they have processes where those can replace, you can make a bioplastic out of it. So a polymer, like you in the future, you will see products being made out of hemp plastic that are more natural and get away. And it is possible in the future with the technology we have now to, as this industry grows and we see different things on the product side of hemp fiber. But growing hemp for fiber and growing hemp for CBD, I grow it differently. So I grow the plants more spread out. So I grow, they're say 6x6. So if you grow a tree out in the middle of a field, it's going to be bushy, shorter, and you're going to have more branches. If you grow a tree in a forest, it's going to be straighter, taller, less limbs, and better quality for your lumber and your fiber side.
Right.
Same thing with the hemp. Same thing with the hemp plant. On the fiber side, you're going to grow it denser like a corn, and it's going to be 10 to 15 feet tall. You go in, you cut it with a sickle or hay cutter, let it ret out in the field dry, and then you bale it and you put it through these. It's basically going to be like a ginning process for hemp, but it's called the decortication process.
What did when you're getting the oils and stuff out? How hard was that to learn how to do? And who was the first person to decide to take the oil out of hemp and use it medicinally?
That's been done for thousands and thousands of years. That goes back to Asia, I believe.
So they found this oil years ago was a remedy for problems.
Yes, the cannabis oils have been used for thousands of years for different medical benefits.
All right, techie question. One hemp plant, how many ounces of oil can you get out of that?
It's one of those. It depends. It depends on the size. When I grow, I don't plant my plants until later in the year because I want a little bit smaller, shorter, more dense flowers. I can get about a pound off of. I can get about a pound of bud or flower off of the plants. The first year, I'll try. I'm going to leave the how many milligrams I can grow out just for business purposes.
I understand.
But I'll tell you the weight. So the first year I grew, getting into this and researching it, and I was YouTube. They don't have hemp botany books, so I bought marijuana botany books. So I was absorbing while I was still at the sawmill. While I was doing all that, I was absorbing YouTube videos of how to grow cannabis, how to grow best nutrients, and I actually went to hemp college at the University of it was up in Lexington, Kentucky. That summer of 2019, the week that I started growing, I put the plants in the ground and I went up to hemp college. And so I tell, this is like with anything, you don't truly learn until you do it. You can read so much, learn so much in college, read so much in a book, until you get out there and actually put your hands or do whatever you are going to do in life. You don't truly learn until you do it. And that was same case with this. So the first year, my brother-in-law, Sam, who's our pharmacist, he was living in Memphis at the time. They had some land behind their house. He grew 2 acres. And also had a kid at the same time, right there when we planted. So he didn't quit his job. He still was working as a pharmacist and still does. But on his, I believe he grew about 100 pounds on those 2 acres. On my 2 acres, where I was able to intensely manage it and learn that first year, I grew 750 pounds. So that was just a learning experience. I was able to be out there every day, fertilizing with organic. I use a lot of different organic ways to fertilize, and so that I didn't leave the field. There every morning, I'd wake up scared because I'm like, did I kill them? Like, are they still going to be there? Until I got through that first year, I was worried about my ladies, the female plants out in the field.
What is what's the value? And the reason I ask, olive oil. Have you looked at the price of olive oil lately, Andy? Shit's expensive, like $25 for a bottle of olive oil. Serious, I just looked at the grocery store yesterday. So what, in terms of a quart bottle, what's a quart of cannabis oil worth? Or hemp oil. Or hemp oil. What's the price tag on something like that?
How big's a fucking quart?
So it's a quart bottle, like those whiskey bottles you put in the deal today is a quart?
I'll start out with the flower price first. So when that first year in 2019, when we started growing, the plant material, so we could combine about 800 pounds, and it was going for $50 a pound at that time for just the flower. So it would have been worth $40,000 what we grew, and in 2 weeks, it went from $50 a pound to 50 cents a pound as a commodity price. So we had in 2018 you had the Farm Bill pass, and then 2018 you had in Tennessee we had about 300 permits. In 2019 there were about 3,000 permits, and people didn't realize how much you can extract out of a plant, and supply in the market shot way up, and demand continued to rise, but not in the levels that supply had shot up. So we had a lot of farmers around here that were trying to grow 80 to 500 acres, and when you're growing that much, your restraint is how much your drying spaces and how you can dry is your limiting factor in growing. And all these people didn't necessarily realize that, and so they had a lot higher overhead in trucking and warehouse space for drying, and you can't. It's hard to dry that much and dry it in a quality way to maintain the terpenes, which are the flavors of the plant, the cannabinoids. It's hard to dry it in a quality way on a mass scale. So that's on per pound, the price drop, and it hasn't really come back up from that on the commodity price for CBD flower or
I was wondering about the oil, that just because I looked at olive oil I bought a bottle at the grocery store yesterday, and I was like, God dang, that shit's expensive. And I was curious what CBD oil was if you bought it at a quart from somebody that was.
Are you talking about like an ice, like a concentrated form of it? So a concentrated form for a kilo of, and it's by kilo, not, I don't know about quart, but per kilo is about $5,000 to $10,000 a kilo.
So $5,000 to $10,000 a pound.
And that it also depends on your milligrams per milliliter in that kilo. So it's all based on the amount of milligrams that you have in that. I mean, it could widely vary because there's a price per milligram. So say some of what I've extracted had in the concentrate had 600 milligrams per milliliter, versus the first year it had 400. So I grew less, and it was less potent, or less CBD per pound. Then the last year I grew, which it was probably, once it got done to extract, it was 600 milligrams per milliliter. It all depends on the strength of the oil, and the price correlates with that. So it would be hard to, without seeing a COA on individual, it would be hard to put a blanket statement on the price.
10 years from now, do you see the strength of your CBD being twice what it is now?
No, I don't, because I'm going to use the same genetics that I've found are these certified organic genetics. I don't think they'll be any higher than they are now.
The marijuana deal, I guess, for the people is they've gotten it so much more intense than what it was 20, 30 years ago.
Correct. So when you smoke, if you were to take the higher percentage of the flower and smoke it, you are uptaking more THC. But if you're going for the extraction side of it, like I am, you want a higher THC. That a stronger plant growing doesn't necessarily mean a stronger gummy, because even if the plant has 1,000 milligrams in it, I'm not putting 1,000 milligrams in the gummy. I'm extracting all that out, and then there's a chemistry ratio to get the exact milligrams in your gummy, dropper full of oil, soft gel, whatever product, whatever CBD product you're putting it in. So there's a chemistry ratio, whether it's the organic coconut oil, the gummy formulation. So a stronger plant benefits for extraction, but if you're doing it for medical purposes, or if you're smoking it, you're going to have a higher dose of intake while inhalation, but we don't sell those right now.
Do you do anything besides gummies? Like we went to the store in Michigan, and they had all kinds of chocolates, all kinds of stuff. Or do y'all do just gummies and roll-ons and the gels?
We just do the CBD oil, soft gels, the internal products. We do CBD oil, soft gels, and the gummies. And then we do pet CBD. So
Tell me about the pets.
Our pets. All right, our pets. So with younger dogs, it's really good for hyperactive dogs that you're having trouble calming them down. Like tomorrow night with fireworks, it would be really good to give them some to kind of for the relaxing side of it. For older dogs, what I've seen firsthand, I had a 14-year-old mixed lab. He was part German Shepherd, part lab. He his hips went out when he was 14, and it was my dog, but it was a family dog at the same time. So my parents were out of town, and I was here watching him, and I came in and I woke up and saw his leg split out. I was bawling my eyes out, taking him to my vet, and I thought I was gonna have to put him down. And Dr. Lipsy gave him a cortisone shot, got him up and moving, and he was like, the decision's yours. But this is 2018, I believe. And so we had already seen the benefit with my sister. And so we were like, well, let's try with Jake. After a month, he was walking and getting around. After we were giving a full drop, he was about a 55-pound dog. We were giving a full 10 milligram dose, which is one full dropper full of our pet CBD, on his food every day. After a month, he was getting around better than he had in a long time. After 3 months, he was getting up and down stairs.
Wow.
And that's that hip arthritis. Like it's just,
Yeah.
It's all it. We may not be able to claim that our products do certain things for medical benefits, but I've seen it firsthand experience with my family and my pets and dogs, and so it's in my opinion, it's there's so many benefits.
Is the reason that a lot of these agencies won't get behind it because the results are not consistent across the spectrum? So like a gummy would affect Jeff and I differently, but I mean, I guess you could say that with a beer. Right, alcohol. Alcohol affects people.
Same thing with a pill, beer, and it everybody's metabolism's different. Everybody's
so I guess I poked a hole in my own argument.
So, that's fine. We brought it up, and it's good to conversation to talk about because it does. Everybody's different in how they metabolize different products. So that it all goes back to the stigma around it. First and foremost, people still the marketing they did to the propaganda and the marketing they did to when they made it illegal made a lasting impression, and it's going to take a long time to get over that.
I think it's just the older generation. I think once they get out of the way, I think a lot of the stuff will kind of start to calm down.
In more modern times, it was the Nixon administration that put it on the Schedule 1 list.
I'm reading a quote of his. I want a goddamn strong statement on marijuana. I mean, one on marijuana that just tears the ass out of them. By God, we're going to hit the marijuana thing, and I want to hit it right square in the puss. I want to hit it against legalizing and all that sort of thing. Richard Nixon.
I have not heard that quote.
It's there's an article on, because I was kind of looking up the war on marijuana, and there's an article by MIT that has that out. The MIT Press Reader, a brief global history of the war on cannabis. But
so a Schedule 1 narcotic that when they made it, when Nixon did that means that they admit zero medical benefit to that plant or compound or whatever it is. So where cocaine is a Schedule 2 narcotic, which they admit medical benefit, then you can still get it at pharmacies and hospitals they administer it for, nosebleeds, or I can't remember what it was. But having this plant up there with those bad narcotics has lumped it together. Like me growing up, don't do drugs was lumped in with this plant when it shouldn't have been. Because it's a natural, in my mind, a natural medicine. It's not necessarily when people think of drugs, it's not like cocaine. It's not like heroin. It's not like all the other drugs that it has been lumped in with for years and years and years. There's so many benefits to it that made so there have not been able to legally study the plant since Nixon did that. it made studying the plant illegal. So, in not having those studies in the U.S., our drug administration I think it will get there, but it won't be anytime soon.
Yeah.
The only legal marijuana field in the country was in Oxford at Ole Miss. I remember when I toured the campus there, that was one of their bragging rides. They're like, yeah, we've got the only medical marijuana field in the country. And then I found the light and went to Mississippi State.
That's crazy that cocaine is a Schedule II drug. It's got benefits, but marijuana Schedule 1'd it.
What are the benefits of cocaine?
Yeah.
Other than they use them to pack noses when you get a surgery.
I was reading some
it's
of it.
It's a surgical deal.
It can be used as
it's like fentanyl.
Topical application of cocaine is a local anesthetic. It is used in nasal surgery and.
But everything, every drug out there has got a benefit. Morphine has a benefit. There are things that people just abuse them is the problem. The thing with marijuana, right. I think, is when Nixon in the early 70s and stuff, the only people that, other than some high society people that were smoking marijuana, I'm sure it was going on, the majority of marijuana use was in the poor neighborhoods, the ghettos, and they stigmatized it as that way, or it was the Mexicans that were coming across the border with some, that's what they were going after, you know, but. The CIA found a way to make a profit off that shit, and so they really all got into the business at the same damn time. I've been told in places like Oregon that have got that they've been legal for 5, 6, 8 years now. They're inundated with people growing marijuana now. Is that correct?
So yes, we're going to see, just like our hemp industry here in Tennessee. Each state that goes legal, it's the race to the top. So you're going to have the bigger players. I think when it does go federally legal, you're going to see companies like Marlboro get it, try to get into it, and that's where we're still going to have our niche for small family-owned quality seed to finished product sales going forward. That's where we're going to see our niche be maintained. Is there are going to be the mass-produced products, but to be able to offer a high-quality seed to finished product oversight for us, because I grow the plants, I don't spray any herbicides or pesticides on them. That's going to be our niche going forward with this market.
What is Canada's federally legal? The whole place everywhere in Canada.
Oh, I don't know anything. I know in Ontario or wherever the fuck we were, it was legal.
Right.
I don't know.
I'm not sure if it is all over.
I don't know. That might be a province by province thing, but I don't know. All I know is that whenever you cross into Canada, because it's legal in New York, which is where we were, they ask you if you have any cannabis in the car. You cross into Canada, and there's signs for dispensaries all over Niagara Falls, which is where we were. And then when you cross back into America, cross back into New York, they ask you the same thing. Did you buy any cannabis while you were over there? So they want to make sure that the tax dollars are going to the right places. So you can't bring cannabis over, even though it's legal on both sides. But I guess it's that way with alcohol too. So, I'm just picking.
Back to your dog on the deal like that. I don't understand. I'm not talking about your older dog, but these sensitive dogs that we have today are just like our fucking all this transgender bullshit. Dogs are soft these days. Tonight, I
need a little discipline.
All you're going to hear about, if you look at Facebook, is these poor people that are upset because their dog's shitting under their bed and hiding under their bed because of the loud noises. Where the fuck were these dogs when I was a kid growing up? There wasn't nobody giving a dog a damn stimulant and stuff. You got to market this shit. There is a big deal for people that have dogs on 4th of July. You could probably sell every pet thing you have just in 1 month.
If we were able to market it, so we're limited on Facebook and Instagram and how we advertise. I can't. I'm reminded with the Williams Knife Company episode with him talking about how what he puts on Facebook and Instagram. I've related to that very well, because up until a month ago, I was blocked and banned from even posting anything. But I can't mention CBD. I can't mention inflammation, pain, muscles. I mean, I just basically show a picture and have to kind of hold my thumb over CBD and hope
Who
somebody
knows what it is?
like just
Right.
telepathy and realizes that there are benefits.
So
But
what were you said your sister and your brother-in-law are both pharmacists, right? What
yes,
was their take when you first got into this? Coming from, their legal drug dealer
so
world.
Legal
so
drug
it
dealer.
was actually it was so Sam, my brother-in-law, and my mom. It was initially it was their idea.
Right.
So it was my mom and my brother-in-law. They went to a hemp expo in 2018, and that's where the idea began. That's where it originally began. So that everybody after seeing with my sister's journey through chemo, everybody was behind it. So they know the benefits. I have so Sam, he works in the bringing of drugs to market side of things, so that he writes the fine print. He worked for Eli Lilly a few years ago, but he that there are high ranking pharmaceutical people that take an order from me. Like they're taking our CBD products because they know there are benefits to it.
So th- did they feel like they had been lied to, like their whole education? Because I'm sure, like, I've never been to pharmacist school or anything like that,
Right.
but I'm assuming that there was a lot of, hey, pills are the way to treat these things and stay away from these holistic methods and stuff like that. So when they came to this conclusion, were they kind of like, fuck, we were lied to?
So Sam actually studied this in pharmacy school. So out in the United States, if you go to a gas station or some of these hemp shops, around 30% of the CBD that's sold here in the United States is grown in China or outside of the
Really?
United States. So that's where getting it from a quality source like us is key. Knowing where you get your CBD is key. But Sam did a study in pharmacy school where they went around to all these different hemp.
Whoop.
We lost you.
Can you hear us, Patrick? We lost you.
I've got
Okay.
you.
Go ahead. He went to, you just said he went, you cut out right when you
So
said he
Sam-
went to these hemp places.
So he went around these hemp stores and they picked up 30 different products, and 30% of them were adulterated in some form or fashion. Either they had extra things in them that they shouldn't have had, or they had no CBD in them at all. And they were claiming to have, say, 1,000 milligrams per bottle, or they were lying on what they were. So that's where he did that study in pharmacy school, and that was kind of a prerequisite to us getting into this as well. So he had seen the need for and the knowing and getting your products from a quality source that's how that kind of started.
Right. So know your source, know like how it was grown, and that's crazy that it's all coming from China. I didn't watch they bring over everything else, so I don't know why I'm surprised about that.
And then the other a good other portion of the products out there there's a manufacturer who is just decided to make CBD products, and they buy off like a commodity from a extractor, and then that extractor is bought from a farmer. You don't know how it was extracted. Right. You don't know how it was grown. So you don't, with the majority of the products out there, you don't know.
And I know we hate a lot of things. Anytime the government gets involved, it's usually fucked up. But would more government regulations kind of protect the consumer in that they would know anytime they bought a bottle of CBD, whether it was from 7-Eleven or from Hemp Hill Pharm, they would know what was in it?
Yes, I think there are some common sense regulations, and that Tennessee, we have just passed some things in our industry that are common sense, where on the psychoactive side, the Delta 8, you can't sell over to anybody under 21. You can't sell near a school. What I don't agree with is the extra tax that they levied on sales tax here inside the state of Tennessee. They said it's not about the money.
Yeah, of course not.
But
How much sales tax is there attached to it now?
So it's an extra 6%. Just so the only product that will be affected is our Delta 8 gummies. All the CBD is not affected. So our state sales tax is 9.75
plus 6%.
So now it will be 15.75%.
Almost 16%.
So what I did
syntax.
So what I did July 1st, our Delta 8 gummies were $35 a jar, and I dropped them to $30 to absorb some of that cost so that it wasn't passed on to our customers. So that's one thing that I've done, which shipping outside the state of Tennessee, I don't have, until I reach a certain sales in each state, I don't have to collect sales tax. So for shipping down to Texas, there is no sales tax there. So I'm not collecting sales tax yet for these states because I haven't reached the minimum sales for each individual state that is required.
So
under
so it's basically a sin tax. They did that. If you look up, our government had a sin tax on cigarettes, and I think maybe 64-ounce fucking Cokes or some shit. No, they just wanted to make extra money.
Oh.
Back in the day, motherfuckers smoked. They wasn't going to quit smoking. I mean, I think Michelle's dad told me one time when cigarettes got to $5 a pack, I said something about them being $5 a pack. He said, well, they're finally getting to what they're worth, because he's too fucking hard-headed, or was, just like my dad was.
Well, nicotine is one of the most addictive drugs there is.
Yes, and they knew that, so they could just add a tax. They added to 25 cents on a pack of cigarettes. I think if you look up right now, I bet you that a pack of cigarettes, I bet the sales on them I bet tax is $1 a pack, just taxes. I had a guy hunt with me from RJ Reynolds or Philip Morris years and years ago, and he told me best thing they'd do is just cancel sales of cigarettes in America. He said, we make enough money in Europe anyways without all the fucking regulations. What is the sales tax on a pack of cigarettes?
$1.40.
$1.40 on a pack. And what's a pack of cigarettes cost? $7 a pack now?
I'd have to find that.
It's up there. I haven't bought a pack of cigarettes.
It's been a minute since I've had to. Texas, it says $6.48.
$6.48. So $1.40 is what so the government is making $1.40 on a package of cigarettes
that they know is going to kill you.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck. They're making their money just like oil and gas. That's these going green people that keep thinking the government's not going to shut off oil and shit. They're just going to keep taxing it higher because the government makes billions and billions of dollars off the oil industry and never puts a dime back into it. So if you go stop and buy a pack of Marlboro Reds, the government's making $1.40 off of you buying that pack of cigarettes.
That's just in Texas. Like if you go to New York, it is $10.53 a pack, and the cigarette tax in New York State is $4.35.
Good God, so the government's making in New York $4. You're probably also paying $1 plus a gallon in gas tax. So if you fill up your truck and you buy 40 gallons of gas and then you buy a pack of cigarettes, the state of New York is probably making about $50 or $60 off your stop without putting $1 back into the fucking thing.
And that's why people are rushing to Texas and Tennessee and just leave your policies at
home. That's the problem is they don't. They
$10.25.
$10.50.
I've never smoked a cigarette in my life, but goddamn, how many cigarettes are in a pack? 20? It
says 20. Yeah.
20.
So you're paying 50 cents
a stick
on tax. Well, them fuckers are.
It's New York, D.C., Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts to round out the top 5. The bottom 5 are Missouri, Georgia, North Carolina, North Dakota, and Tennessee.
Yeah, there's people that smoke 2 packs and 3 packs a day.
That's $30
a day.
Well, and some change when you count in that.
And they don't have money to give their kids fucking school lunch money, probably.
Yeah. And like even when like you look at that, like the cigarette company bought off the medical industry. Like they were greasing the palms of the doctors. There was I think it was Camel or one of them. It was the doctor's choice of cigarettes.
Oh, That was back in the day.
Yeah, that was back. Yeah, I'm not talking about recently, but like that did happen. Like the cigarette company was greasing the palms of these doctors to say, hey, you know, maybe don't bash us too much.
In the 60s, you could not. In the 60s, you could advertise cigarette adverts that were on TV. They had TV commercials with cigarette ads. Then in the early 70s, they passed a law and they wouldn't let you have cigarette ads on TV. Right. But the magazines were all fucking cigarette ads. That's all they were. Well, nowadays it's limp dick medicine pharmacy. And all that shit is what's on TV now. And they also, if you notice, there's no hard liquor commercials for a long time. But now I've been seeing hard liquor video commercials.
I don't know. I know is we're one of only two countries in the world that allow pharmaceutical commercials. It's us and New Zealand.
Are the only ones that allow it?
Yep.
I did not know that.
Every other country is like, you're not advertising.
I could go in the office right now, turn the TV on, and and the first fucking commercial can come on is going to be is going to be something for Cialis, Viagra, anal warts, or some shit.
I do have people that put the salve on their hemorrhoids talking about anal.
Well, listen, if it works, right?
I'll tell you a funny hemorrhoid story. I've got a plastic company that hunts with me. And a guy tells me, he goes, ooh, we got the funniest product now. I go, what is it? He goes, the Chinese have come out with a new hemorrhoid medicine or hemorrhoid relief deal. It is a freaking butt plug you stick in your freezer till it gets cold, and then they stick it in their ass at nighttime so it gives them relief from the hemorrhoids. True story. Can you imagine you have a butt plug in your freezer?
We had a guy, and I'm not gonna reveal his name, but we have a guy that hunts with us, and he had gone out drinking the night before, and his hemorrhoids had been flaring up. He went out, he had Mexican food, and he went out binge drinking. And you know how you get the beer shits the next day a lot of times. So he goes to his doctor, and he's a little Chinese guy.
Dr. Wang.
Dr. Wang walks in, and he's, what's going on? What's the problem? He's like, my fucking hemorrhoids, I'm telling you, they're driving me insane. So he said, all right, get on your left shoulder and pull your knees to shoulders. So he assumes the position, and Dr. Wang sticks a finger in there, and our good buddy says, don't take your finger out.
That's exactly what he said.
And Dr. Wang said, he kind of laughs, and then he's like, no, I'm serious. If you take your finger out, step to the side because I'm going to blow shit all over this office. And so the Dr. Wang steps to the side, and he said he painted the walls with shit. Oh, no. And Dr. Wang runs out. Some poor nurse has to they can bring hazmat suits in and kind of clean this guy up. But he said, I shit all over that exam room.
And for the people that's been up here while he's here at the lodge, it's a great story because I make him tell it in person all the time.
But he did. He said, whatever you do, don't take your finger out.
You so funny.
Oh, you so funny. He's like, I'm serious, doc. We're about to have an issue here.
Oh my God.
So
when they took NASCAR went downhill when they took the cigarette advertisers away from NASCAR is when, which I've been to a lot of Talladega races and I remember that, but back in the time that you were talking about in the just kind of get back to the Nixon, and then I'll get back on the story of so Nixon, and then you had the Reagan administration that really hammered the war on drugs in general, to really Nancy Reagan really drove it home when she said, when it comes to drugs and alcohol, just say no, which for the bad schedule, the bad narcotics, it's not good to do. But she unfortunately lumped this plant in with that, and so that's really hurt this industry over the past 30, 40 years.
What's interesting to me is, like, whenever you see things like this, you start to think, well, whenever you're told these things growing up, and then you experience marijuana, and you take it, and it's like, that's not what they said it was. So then you're like, right. Well, what else have they lied about? Right? So then, you could be more inclined to to try other things. Whether if they'd have just been straight up with us, they talk about marijuana being the gateway drug, but it's because people take it and they're like, well, that wasn't that bad. And then they do the next thing and then the next thing and then the next thing. And then before you know it, that's when you run into problems because, you've taken all these other narcotics.
Right. And that's where education, like
just
like
be
what
straight
I
up
did,
with
I set
us.
up at the farmer's market. Yeah. I educate every Saturday when I'm on a radio show, podcast. That's what I'm here for, is to educate, just open up and listen, and share with people that it's not what we've been lied to. For the hemp and cannabis plant is not what we've been told it is over the past 90 years.
And I could see a
And
teenager that, tries it and he's heard how bad it is for his whole life. And then he tries it and he's like, well, that wasn't it. And then before you know it, fucking doing other shit just because he was like, well, they lied to me about that.
We had something here at the farm. It was 2020, I believe, it's 2020. I had a law enforcement day here at the farm where I had Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, their narcotics labs. I had Memphis Undercover Narcotics, and then about 15 different law enforcement agencies from across the state of Tennessee here to the farm to educate them on the hemp industry and the plant and the growing of it. The undercover officers from Memphis looked at the plants and they said, if this flower, if you harvested and dried this and sold it in Memphis, you would, the street value of this would be, if it was its cousin, would be outrageous. Yeah. They said, just don't let anybody know this is here. So we worked very closely with our local law enforcement and legislatures to stay up to with their laws and codes, and then in turn educate them on our side of it as well. And so it's been difficult, because our legislatures, a lot of our politicians don't listen and don't know what they're legislating on. They're just letting somebody under them tell them, and they're listening to whoever's closest to them, and that person may not know what is best. But I have one story about a dove hunt out here in the field. It was the second year of doing it. I had quite a few doves that were, it was opening, I believe it was the opening day. I had quite a few doves that were landing on one block, and we're in the city limits here in Jackson. The city's kind of grown around us over the past few years since we moved here when I was little, 30 years ago. And I'd set up between the hemp plants and shooting in a safe direction away from houses. And like we have our cattle barn and hay barn towards another end of the property. And I had a successful hunt in the first 25 minutes, and I killed 13. It started raining. And so I had locked the gate to the farm, and I went up to let my, at that time, 2-month-old Chesapeake Bay Retriever out to give her water while it was raining. And I had the barn to the drying, I had the door to the drying barn open, and I turned around with that water bowl, and there were 2 JPD officers that had just walked around the barn, corner of the barn, and I'm sitting there, and I've got camo shorts, my gun's on the gator. And they said, "Are you the one back here shooting?" I'm like, "Yes, sir." And I had all the laws and documentation for like state law. I can shoot in the city limits as long as it's at wildlife. And they were like, "Okay, we just wanted to make sure nobody was out here invading the hemp field. We had shots fired reported, so we had to come check it out." And they were standing right there at the door, and I had my grow tent set up indoors where I start the seeds most years. And so I start the seeds indoors. But this time of the year, I actually had my fall vegetable garden. I had my fall vegetables started in those tents, and they kept looking inside the tents. And I had 700 pounds from the previous year in there that I was yet to be extracted. And he looked in there. I said, "Y'all want to go look at it?" And so they were like, "Absolutely." So I took them in. I was like, my mom, and we've practiced growing indoors. We practiced growing outdoors. So my mom had a tent. I had a tent at my house. And so we had a bunch of just what looked like, just cannabis flower bud just laying around. and the officer, I just stepped through the process and educated them, and they were like, "Don't let anybody know this is back here."
They're gonna roll you, right?
They're gonna
shots fired.
Yeah.
We got shots fired at the hemp farm. So, yeah, that's it's funny, man. It's been a lot of fun. We've gone on. Let's see here, over an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So we're gonna let you go.
Give your website.
Yeah. So hemp.
I'll go through the products one more time. We have the pet CBD, good for hyperactive dogs and hips, joints, health. It works the same way in humans as it does pets. You have the oil, soft gels, and gummies, and then you have our topical products, the roll-on and the CBD salve. So you can shop on our website, hemphillpharm.com. Farm is spelled PHARM, like pharmacy. Don't type in FARM. Hemphillpharm.com. Look for the sunflower logo, and know where you get your products from.
20% off your next order, correct?
BHP. Use the promo code BHP at checkout.
BHP. On your first order, you can put your email in for 30% off, and it's free shipping anywhere in the country. So your next order, use BHP.
There you go. So do that, and I'm going to look into this pet CBD for Lou.
Well, what's
number
Lou?
one, he's getting older.
He's 17.
And number two, yeah.
How old is he now?
10. But he is getting older, and he is hyperactive. So there you go. Like double whammy for that.
And for all you people
bastard.
that got these soft ass pets that get scared every time a firework goes off, these new dogs
You're gonna have to overnight it.
But there's a huge market for that. I'm telling you, my Facebook will be flooded tonight and tomorrow night on people about their poor dogs.
Hey, so
Yes.
talk to me real quick about the pet CBD. How do you gauge like a little shit dog versus Lou, who's 100 pounds? Is there like a size chart on the back of the bottle?
So it's 2.5 milligrams or 2 milligrams for every 10 pounds. So one full dropper full is a 50-pound dog.
Gotcha.
Half a dropper full is a 25-pound dog. 12 and a half pound dog is a quarter dropper full. So it is 1 milliliter per dropper full, and it is on the website. It does have the recommended dose per weight of your animal.
There you go. Very good. This is very exciting. When did who was the first to give their dog CBD? I wonder. Like, Jesus, we got to try to fucking calm this little bastard down. But I mean, I guess it worked. I bet what happened is the dog got into somebody's stash, and then they were like, "He's super chill right now." And then they just went from there. It's been a lot of fun. I'm glad.
Enjoyed it. Thank y'all for having me. I look forward to working
absolutely.
with y'all.
Good luck on Saturday.
Yes. Good luck. Congratulations.
Have fun.
And are you sick and tired of Tennessee football already?
Last year, growing up here, I grew up a Tennessee fan. Not solely. I had some Cajun friends from Louisiana corrupt me, and I was actually a Louisiana LSU fan until I went to Mississippi State. So I kind of pull for all three. But no, Tennessee. I hope they continue to be good.
LSU's got a little mini dynasty going on right now.
In what?
Well, they're good in everything, Jeff. Baseball, basketball, spring
So
sport.
LSU beat Mississippi State. I was in Omaha when we won the World Series or in baseball, and LSU beat us in a very important poll there in Omaha. There's a bar that keeps shot counts, Jello shots. And I had a picture that popped up in my memories 2 days ago, and it was, I think Mississippi State was and the current leader at the time was 3,000 or 4,000 shots. And I just was curious. I said, I wonder if somebody's beaten us since then. And I thought, well, LSU just left, so they probably did. I didn't expect to see it as like 66,000 Jello shots were sold out of this one bar by LSU fans.
Holy, how do they keep track of that? I've not seen this.
Tab it and just tab.
Well, what do they do? They just
we'll
go
take
in.
We'll take 100 Jello shots right here.
We'll take 100 Jello shots. I heard one person went in and said, I'll take like thousands or like 4,000 or 5,000 Jello shots, and just like was passing it around the bar.
Gotta love LSU. Gotta love those coon asses, Jeff.
I do.
Occasionally.
It's funny. My granddaughter is not a fan of Kim Mulkey's, the girls' basketball coach, but she likes the girl from Iowa. But I was glad to see LSU win over Florida, except for my good buddy Jake up here. Not many Florida fans in Knox County.
Nope, pretty safe.
But I like LSU. I like the SEC. They have great traditions, and until people go to those actual campuses and see them, the SEC is unlike any other conference there is. The Big Ten's probably pretty close on their college campuses and stuff, but it's just the SEC is just a really cool place. The best looking women though at Ole Miss, that right?
We had some pretty good looking ones. My fiance went to Mississippi State along with
then,
me.
yeah, you got to stick to that.
So no, I think Mississippi State women are the
better than hottie toddy, huh?
Absolutely.
Okay. That's some stout words. We need to have a poll on the Big Honker podcast. Which college has the hottest chicks? Andy, of course, will say something bad about everybody up north. You already opened up that can of worms on the Better Hunters.
Whatever.
There's some people took your side.
Truth hurts.
Where'd you say the best
hunters in the South? When you look at we're hunting heavily pressured birds. A lot of them, by the time they get here, they've seen a lot of tricks in the book. And then when you factor in the lack of winter, we haven't
shooting
had
stale birds. So whatever birds you get, you're shooting them all year long. So
I say anybody that hunts public birds, any place in the country, if you hunt a public and that's what you do is just hunt public, I think you're all hunting the tough birds.
I said it more to stir shit.
You did a good job
rather
of it.
than I did like people taking this as gospel. I mean, it was kind of this little needling comment and some people. The sarcasm is lost in this.
I hunt public one weekend out of the year. I go to Arkansas to the White River National Wildlife Refuge, and it is work. I mean, you are
100%.
trudging through there, and but here in West Tennessee, fortunately, I'm able to have lots of friends and family we have private places up and all over West Tennessee that I'm able to hunt.
We have a public or private page on Facebook. It's the Big Honker Podcast private group. You got to answer a couple of questions to be a member. Everybody needs to sign up. There's a lot of banter back and forth there about things on our podcast and other things, but we have a very active group of people on there, and Andy or me piss somebody off every day. Both of us do. And someone calls us out on things we say that's wrong or their opinions, and I like that. And I knew when Andy said that he had fucked up really good. But
I didn't fuck up. I did it on purpose.
But it's what makes it so good to go to that page, and also go to our Patreon page. We put out 3 videos, sometimes extras a day. And that's on our Patreon account, the Big Honker Podcast. It's brand new and it's growing like crazy. We do all kinds of cool giveaways. We're fixing to have a hunt giveaway over there right now. We're giving a hunt away for 2 people for opening weekend of goose season. You got to get on the Patreon account to win part of that, or to win that. And then we got the first family of waterfowl season 2 will be out on YouTube July 20th. July 20th, we'll drop the first one. I've seen the first episode. It's a very, very, very good. We had a lot bigger budget. We had more cameras. It was a big time improvement from the first year. Very excited about that. And the first trailer is up on our Patreon and on the Big Honker Podcast private page. The trailer for episode 1 is up. Anyways, we got anything else going on?
Oh, can we let Patrick go? Like, you're going off on all this fucking avenues, and poor guy's just sitting there.
No,
Patrick's part of the family now. Hemp Hill Pharm. HempHillPharm.com
with a PH.
Yeah, PHARM. HempHillPharm.com. Look for the sunflower logo.
Now listen, I don't know how your fiance is, but
here goes
keep
Andy.
it on your wedding day. Don't get obliterated. All right.
I'm not.
Don't worry. That will not age well, and she will hold that. Remember we were talking about leverage? Don't put any arrows in her quiver. You show up on the altar drunk, she won't let you forget that.
I will make sure I don't do that.
Hey, I've been to a wedding where the bride got too drunk, and it was not very nice. So it was a whole lot. I felt sorry for the guy.
Oof.
I mean, she got really fucked up bad.
That's not good.
It was actually pretty funny.
Enjoy your wedding, though, all right? I know it's a lot of stress and all that other stuff. Just take a breath, enjoy the day, take a gummy if you have to, and enjoy. Is there going to be like a gummy bar at this place or not?
No, I'm going to leave the products at home.
There you go.
And they can get them from me when they get back.
Perfect. All right, my man. Well, enjoy your day on Saturday. Have fun on your honeymoon. And
thank y'all. Happy 4th of July.
Yeah. Hey, happy 4th of July
tomorrow.
God bless you. Congratulations. Be safe.
God bless.
And have a great 4th. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.
HempHillPharm.com. That's Hemp Hill Pharm, PHARM.com. I'm taking the gummies. I'm telling you right now, best sleep I've had.
That pet CBD is interesting.
There's a huge market for that.
For pet CBD?
Fuck yes. I mean, I'm telling you, every person that's got a little shit dog that whines and shits on himself and stuff, that's what they need. Those little nervous dogs, people, oh, he's nervous.
He's got a nervous stomach.
Well, give him one of those.
But I mean, Lou is getting a little bit older, so we got to be proactive there. And maybe it will help. Maybe that's what will finally help the whining in the goose blind.
I don't know if that'll ever happen.
Well, get that sumbitch hopped up on hemp, and you might be surprised, Jeff.
All right, let's get out of here.
Where do you want to go?
Bye.
Go to hemphillfarms.com and use our promo code. BHP will save you 20% off of your next purchase. Also, go check out Boss Shot Shells, Pacific Call, Dive Bomb Industries, Dirty Duck Coffee, Shin Gear, Lucky Duck, Looking Glass Podcast, Ducks Unlimited, Double T British Kennels, Mossberg, Stanfield Outfitters, and Alpha Outdoor Specialties.